This is Culture Connects. Let's talk a little bit about the culture of immortality, or potentially the cult of immortality. Immortality is something that has always been very present in my life just because I read a lot of sci-fi, science fiction, and fantasy. So if you read sci-fi or fantasy, you'll come across things like vampires or vampirism, different definitions of vampirism. You'll come across things like wuxia, where people cultivate so that the end goal is they eventually become so powerful they become immortal, they ascend. And recently, Xi Jinping, leader of China, and Vladimir Putin, leader of Russia, were overheard discussing immortality through advancements in biomedical engineering, organ transplants in particular. And I think it's very interesting that these discussions are happening at the same time as the rise of AI, at a time when the definition of what is human, what is humanity, what is humane is being revised or questioned or turned around or just prodded. For most companies that introduce AI into their company, most likely it's not actually improving workflows that much, and most likely it's not actually benefiting the experience of their products or clients that much, or at least not yet. But the end goal, at least in my opinion, is that eventually they'll be able to either shrink their workforce or not have to replace their workforce if their company grows. And that will have a huge impact on one of the biggest costs any company faces, which of course is their workforce cost. And language and culture is being used very cleverly in the marketing around AI, and it's not an AI bot for most companies, it's an AI assistant. They don't necessarily want to call everything a bot or an AI tool. It's an assistant, it's helpful, it's human, it's humane. I wrote a little bit about that use of the word assistance in particular. At least in Western culture, if I'm not mistaken, the most famous example of immortality that we have in culture is the immortality of the vampire. So this predator that has to live in the shadows, and if it sees the light, it will die, or if it becomes too famous or well known, it will be hunted to extinction or die. It's interesting now that we may, as a culture, have to grasp with different definitions or an expanded definition of what it means to be immortal or immortality in the modern world if these advancements that Putin and Xi Jinping were talking about actually come to pass and if they become widely available.